After almost a year of waiting, GMC's mid-sized premium SUV is finally ready to be put back on the road. So I want to do a little bit of a walk around for you today so you know exactly what to expect once you come in to check it out for yourself. So one of the starkest differences that you're going to notice when you jump into a GMC Terrain of this year is of course going to be that front end. Now the front end does change with these half-year or half-generation upgrades, so you do get that upgraded front fascia. You do have the mimic C-shaped lamps that you would typically see in the GMC Sierra and the GMC Yukon. On lesser models that are not the Denali, you do actually have a 3-pot LED system. However, with the GMC Terrain Denali, they do go up a level and give you the LED precision lamp. So you have 2 lamps, much brighter. They're going to be intelligent, so they're going to augment with you as you turn the wheel, as you're going around a corner, turning on your high beams automatically to be able to detect exactly who's in front of you and turn those off as it needs. And being LED precision, they have actually calibrated the color temperature of these lights themselves to throw as much visible light ahead of you as possible. Now we're all guilty of getting those cheap LED lights and throwing them into our vehicles, hoping that we can get some extra light out front, and for a lot of cases they do that. However, you will notice that especially on some of the other ones that get really blue, you don't really see all that much more in front of you. In fact, you can possibly see less than your old yellow halogen bulbs that you had in there before. And that's because certain wavelengths are more visible than others. So they have tuned this, again, to make sure that it is throwing out as much light as possible that you can actually see, identify, and help you drive a little bit more safely. Now this grille up front, of course, is a big difference. So you're gonna see the full diamond treatment up front that you would typically only see in the Yukon or the Sierras. And of course, this is going to be a much bigger grille than the last couple of generations. So you're gonna get even more airflow in there. It looks much nicer, gives you a fantastic premium road presence. And unlike any other mid-sized vehicle on its road, this is actually an active grille. So that means that you're actually going to be able to control automatically the airflow that comes into the engine bay, whether to cool off the engine, closing it up for aerodynamics, or to keep that engine temperature inside if it is a very cold day. Now this could help when you remote start your vehicle and it's super cold outside, as I'd mentioned. It helps retain that heat for a much more warmer cabin, or on a blisteringly hot day like today, those will stay open regardless of aerodynamic needs to help get as much air into the engine as it needs. Now that dynamic airflow is going to be very important, as this does have a 1.5 turbocharged motor underneath the hood, and we'll get into the motor and the transmission and all those specs in just a second. However, that intercooler that it does have is going to be able to cool even faster with its air-to-liquid intercooler down below the vehicle. So that extra airflow is going to help keep that engine cool and keep that turbo running as cool as possible within spec to last as long as possible. As far as looks, the front end has really been sculpted nicely. I think they did a great job in kind of refreshing while still taking in that premium style that they had before. I think they did a great job, and I think they just added nicely to it here. Now on the side of the vehicle, it does still get that same great Denali treatment that you know and love. So you do get your body colored wheel arches right here. Typically those are a rugged black plastic, which looks great on some other colors, but on the Denali it really brings that in, especially if you're in a nice metallic red or the black, or of course even this nice flat white here. There are no breaks in those body lines. You do get that Denali trim down at the bottom, of course chrome door handles right here as well, and of course accents on the mirror, these roof rails, everything else. It kind of looks very nicely put together. All in all, not a huge stark change from previous generation, but they do give you that same great Denali look that you know and love. As far as safety goes, of course, this is all 5-star crash test safety rated, so you have side impact beams rated for up to 2 times the vehicle's own weight. So if you do get hit onto the side, these doors will not intrude more than 3 inches into the cabin, leaving you and your passengers safe. And of course, you do have a litany of airbags in here as well to basically cocoon you if you do get into an accident. So again, one of the safest mid-sized vehicles on the road, and especially the safest at its price point.
Coming through.
So moving around to the back of the vehicle, you will see that Denali treatment continues to come around to the side, and you do get no badging on the side. Typically you'll have an SLE or an SLT badging, but with Denali it is blank. You just get the all-wheel drive and terrain badges, as well as the side Denali badges on the side. And of course you can't really mistake the color scheme for anything else but a Denali, especially with that grille. However, you do get your LED arrays in the back. You get this nice diamond pattern in that reverse light, which is going to help with reflection, but of course really just to make it look a little bit nicer. And this is going to really tie in that premium Denali look all around the vehicle. We do have a power liftgate in the back. Now this is manually operatable. If you would like, you could turn it off completely, operate it from your key fob. We're gonna go ahead and open it up now. This does have a 5-pound pressure sensor, either open or closed. So if you do have some little ones either getting in there or have some fingers that are stuck or some groceries, a watermelon, whatever it is, you will not have any damage to those appendages or your produce. You should be fine because it will stop automatically. This does have a programmable gate. So if you do have a low-hanging ceiling, as you see, it did stop a little bit lower. That was a manual program that I did. It's very easy to do. You just pull down the gate as the place that you need, hold down this button on the back, and of course, you'll see the blink to confirm that that is now your new height. And you can have a bunch of those settings and control a bunch of those settings from the interior as well. But these are manually operatable hinges, as you saw, so you do not have to turn it off completely. As long as it is not moving, it is safe to operate. And that is not the same, rather, for a lot of other manufacturers out there. But tons of space in the back here. Of course, you can fold down these seats into a 60-40 split. You can even fold down that that passenger front seat. So if you do have some very long items, whether you're picking up a rug or doing a Home Depot run in a pinch, you could do that with this SUV without much trouble at all. Now, as I mentioned, this does have a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now, a couple of years ago, hearing that in an SUV like this might have been a little laughable. However, things have come quite a long ways. This is matched to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and of course, with that responsive, small 1.5 liter 4-cylinder motor, it can rev out very easily. It is extremely rev happy, and that 9-speed automatic transmission keeps it in peak torque and peak power whenever you need. And when you don't need it, it's even better at sipping fuel as well. Rated 28 miles per gallon on the highway, and even more impressively, 25 miles per gallon in the city, giving you a combined of 26 miles per gallon. That's pretty fantastic for a vehicle as capable and as well equipped as this one is. Now, a couple of years ago, you were able to get a 2-liter turbocharged motor with around 250 horsepower, and that's definitely quite a bit more than the 183 that you would find here. However, the new transmission that is in this vehicle more than makes up for a lot of that peppiness that you might feel be lost. Now, it's not the same motor. You're not going to win in a drag race versus the 2-liter, but who's drag racing a vehicle like this? Let's be honest here. It's a great everyday driver. It's reliable. These things have timing chains in them. There's no more timing belts in any of GM's vehicles, so you don't have to worry about water pumps or, like I said, timing belts to change every 50 to 60,000 miles. These chains are rated for well over 100,000, typically 150,000 miles or more. You'll have iridium tip spark plugs in here that'll last, again, that about 100,000 miles, and all fluids in here, your Dexos compliant coolant, your brake lines, even your oil is all Dexos compliant, so should be good for the better part of 100,000 miles. There are no interval maintenance, service interval maintenances plans for those fluids. Of course, the oil you do have to change every 5 to 10,000 miles, as it is a fully synthetic Dexos 2 compatible oil. However, other than that, it's a pretty much set and forget motor. You really never have to pop the hood until 100,000 miles. There is a lot of sound deadening under here as well, so you're not really supposed to see it and you're not really supposed to hear it. So it's a very quiet and refined ride. You have nice padding, fire retardant material up top, of course, in the back end right here as well. Most of this stuff is really just fire retardant on most vehicles, but they go the extra mile and make it a sound dampener as well. You'll find a lot of body foam in these side panels where normally you typically wouldn't find anything in other vehicles. So again, all of this kind of comes together and makes a much quieter ride, dampens a lot of the harsh road noise that you might expect. And that paired with some of the technology inside, which we'll get to in a little bit, it can make it pretty quiet, especially for the price range and especially for the size of a vehicle that it is. All right, now we're getting on to where you're actually gonna spend your time if you pick up one of these GMC Terrains. This interior is second to none in its class. It really is. It's got fantastic leather, great hand-stitched steering wheels, real metal all throughout the interior, giving you a premium look, and that's not just on the Denali. You get a lot of these features like the hand-stitched steering wheel in real metal throughout the interior in a lot of the models, not just the Denali. So it is a pretty fantastic place to sit, along with these Denali branded seats right here. They have extra thick leather just for the Denali, and of course hand-stitched seating as well. So overall looks very, very premium. Of course, a lot better than what you get in other SLE or even SLT models with the leather option in the Terrain as well. Of course, you get a whole suite of technology, including an 8-inch IntelliLink screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Of course, this does run a very similar system to Android, so you have a lot of that compatibility built right into the vehicle, including some apps that you can download right from GMC's store. You do have, of course, your steering wheel controls here. A heated steering wheel is included on these models as well. You will find cooled seats, heated seats, all with multi-levels, so give you the best auto start experience that you can get. So if it's a cold day out, you can remote start your car, it'll heat the steering wheel up, heat the seats up for you, and turn the heat on blast. If it's a cold day, it'll do the exact opposite, including cooling off the seats for you and turning on the AC on full blast as well. Now, this is all connected together with a very nice Bose multi-point surround sound system. It's gonna actually act very similar to how it does in its headphones. So if you've ever had Bose noise canceling headphones with the ANC, active noise cancellation, you can now expect to have that same technology in this vehicle. And it'll cancel out road noise, tire noise, a little bits of engine noise, even when you're not playing music. So it gives you a really nice, serene, especially on the highway, really nice drive. Again, especially for the size of the vehicle and especially for the price. There are vehicles that are more expensive than this that sound a lot louder on the inside, and not for the sake of sportiness. Because in a vehicle like this, at least the way that this Denali is equipped, it's a nice luxury, comfortable cruiser, and it really does fit that bill. You do have your IntelliLink shift down here, so it's the 9-speed automatic transmission, as I had mentioned. However, that is going to be in this new array of buttons here, so no longer have a shifter right smack dab in the middle of the vehicle. You do have a lot more space open for your arms, for passengers. It really makes it feel a little bit more open, and your passengers a little bit more connected to you on the road. You have a fully selectable all-wheel drive system in here, including a torque split from 50 to 50 to front and rear for off-roading or snow modes. You do have a full 2-wheel drive mode to help save on fuel, and of course an all-time all-wheel drive mode that you can select on at a given moment if it starts to rain, if it starts to snow, or you just prefer to have that extra stability. It is completely safe to have in at all times. This is a 2-speed transfer case as well, so you are able to flat tow this vehicle. That means that if you do have an RV, you can pull this directly behind it as long as you put it in the correct settings without any issues there at all. And lastly, as you're inside the vehicle, you're gonna get the full suite of safety features, including the automatic braking. You have radar guided cruise control, full speed and slow speed braking. Of course, you have your parking sensors front and rear. You have a multi-directional camera system, including a bird's eye view and rear view camera, front cameras, as well as mirror cameras, so you can see all your wheels. So there is no excuse for curbing wheels, hitting anything, or getting too close to something that you shouldn't have. You really have the bird's eye and the best view possible in all of these HD cameras around the vehicle. Now, another cool feature that is Denali exclusive is going to be that park assist feature. That's going to allow you to find and locate a spot that is large enough for the vehicle and then park in it for you. Whether it's parallel parking on either side of the road or perpendicular parking on the other side of the road, it'll find a spot between the cars and do an accurate parking job for you. Now, you do control the throttle, you do control what gear you're in, you can park it at any time, but it does control the steering wheel fully and tell you when to gas and tell you when to brake. And it's pretty accurate. They've introduced this feature in the Buick models back in 2016-17, at least with the, like I said, Buick GMC lineup, and it's only improved since then. And albeit it is a somewhat of a party trick, and it is a very interesting and kind of gimmicky way to park your car, but for those who get severe parking anxiety in parallel parking situations, this can actually help you out and do a pretty good job with it. Now, some of the things that GM may not get credit for is a lot of the design cohesion that they have with their vehicles, not only in terms of looks, but in terms of functionality as well. Now, I believe a lot of these vehicles, they are very well put together, like I said, in terms of design. So the front end complements the side, which complements the back. It doesn't seem like there's any design for design's sake, which is really nice to see, because everything that you see, all the aerospats and the designs and the cuts in this body are designed for a specific reason, and that is to designate where the air is going to go. And that may sound obvious because all cars go through wind tunnels and all cars get that aerodynamic treatment for fuel economy, but they really do tune this specifically for the quietness and harshness of the ride. So to kill a lot of that wind noise at 70, 80 miles an hour or higher potentially, you are able to get a much quieter ride while channeling the air strategically over the vehicle instead of just designing some flaps and corners and edges like a lot of newer SUVs might be trying to do just to look stylish and may not put the comfort and the quality of the ride of the drivers and the passengers at such a high priority. So it's nice to at least point out that all these vehicles do have these double glazed glass panes. Of course, they are noise treated with noise film on both the front and the back. Of course, you have triple edge door seams, both on the door itself and on the door jamb. And these are laser aligned from the factory, again, to help with that coercion of air over. So these doors are going to sit inside the frame of the vehicle instead of on the outside or overlapping like a lot of vehicles do, which again can create a little bit of road noise. And those little bits here, the little bits there, the little bits at the front of the vehicle and the front of the bumper, all that adds up into a less of a quiet and less of a peaceful ride. So that's pretty much it. That's a lot of the things that interested me in this brand new 2022 GMC Terrain. Of course, the Denali package is back. We have Terrains in stock. If you are looking to experience the brand new Denali and the king of mid-sized SUVs on the road, definitely come on down and check one out before it is gone. We have a long list of people who are waiting to get into their specific GMC Terrain Denali, and we would like to have you on that list as well. So if you would like to see it, come on down, visit us at Wallingford Buick GMC at Route 5 in Wallingford. And of course, if you have any questions about availability or what is actually on our lot, or any questions about this video in specifics, leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel, of course, give us a follow. And as always, thank you so much for watching.